It's crazy.
We got them wait, what? Took a little minute, was patient, but now we take it. Anytime we want in this game, my situation is entertainment intertwined with information. Alchemist soul, how we move the tassel and roll. It's amazing how we can turn something brass to gold. And we steady making hits. Architect with the prop in the scripts. It's logical that the product will flip. My boy Chef did the lineup, I'm fresh in the bitch. Carnivorous podcast, the newest show on the list. DQ on the boat, so I'm rocking the ship. While the music gon' be dope and the artist legit. Hold my beard, concrete cord, then stepped in the door. See, that's my man and he reppin' for show. And true saviors a player with flavor. Lexicon Taylor, lines on point like a laser. We need that paper, we building the vault. Cause you niggas don't listen, y'all be waiting to talk. Lack accountability and try to make it our fault. But opposing us is trying to arm wrestle the hawk. You coming up short on your re-up, nigga we up. Really wouldn't want to be up. I kick my feet up. My beef is ragu and my truck is all speakers. Bills is all blue and my blunt is all reefer. With possible deniability, that boy eater. High quality whack juice by the liter. They like to call us ops, we got Oppenheimer features. That's the bomb out on the island just to teach you.
Peace to the people. Try Media Innovations in the building. Dual streaming. Carnivorous podcast. True Savior in the building. We gotta have a quick discussion about Kamala Harris, right? True Savior, I know you're good. We'll let you talk to your people. Just get the intro out. I guess lately everybody been bugging out about Kamala Harris. I've been kind of staying out of the conversation. I don't think I need to add to the madness. And it's funny, True Savior called me up and said, I think I want to have the discussion. I was like, I don't know. I really don't want to be on live having my political views out. But he said, no, I want to have a good discussion. I think it's time to have the discussion because we're coming into the home stretch. We got August, September, October, and November, and then we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna give it to my brother Paul's True Savior. He can take it from here, and then we'll open up the panel in about 20-30 minutes once he fleshes out an idea. So True Savior in the building. Go ahead, my bro.
All right, what's up, fam? Peace to the chat, peace to Tri Media. Yeah, man, I really want to discuss this topic because it appears like on social media, especially all around social media, this is anti-Kamala Harris sentiment out there. And I'm trying to figure out where it comes from. And the main issue I'm having is that they're basically challenging her blackness. And I find that a little disturbing because, in my opinion, she is a Black woman, but she's also a South Asian woman. So she's both. And there's nothing wrong with being both. I don't think one has to choose necessarily one side or the other. I think it's unfair to ask someone to choose between your father's side or your mother's side of your ancestry. And what I find, a little disheartening is that there are people on social media with rather large platforms trying to say that she's not Black or she can't claim Black if she's South Asian or if she has South Asian heritage. Now, I brought up this comparison before about Soldier Story. Soldier Story, for me, has a lot of interesting, messages in it. And we need to take to heart. I brought up the situation with the character who plays Sergeant Waters. He was trying to say that people like C.J. Memphis, and if you haven't seen the movie, I'm describing some of the characters. C.J. Memphis was basically like, what we call a step and fetching type of Negro, right? So he wanted to get rid of all of those kind of Negroes. He's basically say those kind of Negroes shouldn't represent Black people. Now, on the other hand, you have the character Denzel Washington played. He was in defense of C.J. Memphis, although Denzel Washington's character, I forget what character he played, he wasn't a backward Negro, but he defended C.J. Memphis. And when Sergeant Waters, and actually at the end of the movie, we come to find out that Denzel Washington's character, he killed Sergeant Waters. And when he was caught and brought before the captain, he said that, let me see if I get this right. He said, some things need getting rid of, meaning that type of Negro that Sergeant Waters represented wasn't good for the Negro race. So on both sides, you had two competing ideas of who was Black or who was a Negro and who was not, who was better to represent what being a Negro and who was not. And so I find that in this particular thing with Kamala Harris is that we have people in social media trying to determine who she is and does she have a right to call herself Black. All right. So what I find a little disingenuous is that when people examine her ancestry, they only focus on her father's paternal line, meaning Donald Harris, that's the father of Kamala Harris. They don't focus on the maternal line of Donald Harris. They only focus on the paternal line. And if you know anything about genetics, you would know that most Black men who were subject to slavery, whether it be in the Caribbean, South America, or America, most Black men have a European paternal ancestry. That's not uncommon. This is why most Black people have at least 20% of European ancestry on average because of all the raping that went on. Now, when you look at Donald Harris, maternal line, and hopefully that perhaps get that illustration up to help you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But when you look at his maternal line, you will find out his maternal line is Black. Now, it's not what you would call European necessarily. So here's Donald Harris at the bottom. That's Kamala's mother to the right at the bottom. All right, so you can see Kamala's ancestry basically is all South Asian. There's no question about that. But the father is a little different, right? So again, like I said before, when you look at his paternal line, you will see that he has European ancestry, but you notice that his grandmother is Black, right? So this is why he has African ancestry also on his paternal side as well. But if you look to the right, you'll notice that his mother is Black. His father was biracial, but his mother was Black, a Black Jamaican. Also, his grandparents on his maternal side was also Black Jamaican. So if you look at, if you analyze genetics and understand how much of each parent you get, you can conclude that Donald Harris is at least 75% African ancestry, because he got at least 50% of his mother, which is fully African, African Jamaican, fully African. He gets 50% of that. And because his father was biracial, he gets 25% on average of African ancestry, which makes him about 75% African. All right. Now, Kamala's mother, being that she's all South Asian, you put those two together, it kind of, now, like I said, genetics is a little tricky. I'm making it as simplistic as possible so everyone can understand. But for simplistic, for reasons of simplicity, Kamala's mother would represent about 64% of Kamala's ancestry versus her father, because she's full South Asian. So in theory, she's more South Asian than Black, but again, she still has Black ancestry. A lot of people would say, oh, she doesn't have any Black ancestry, but it's not true. And she has always identified as being Black. There's a long history of doing that. Let me read this, what her mother, what Kamala said about her mother, what she taught her to do. This is from Reuters, and I'm gonna read an excerpt of this. It says, Kamala Harris, let me get this right where, okay. In 2016, feature opens a new tab for the New York Times Magazine. This is in the New Yorker Times Magazine. Harris talks about her mother's choice of community for her and her younger sister Maya after her parents' divorce, and referred to herself as a Black person. She had two Black babies, and she raised them to be two Black women. Even so, in other words, even though Kamala's mother is South Asian, she saw herself as Black, and she taught her daughters that they were Black as well. Now they have Black ancestry, so it's not a problem. So she's always knew or believed that she was Black. See, we get into this issue about how much Black ancestry do you need to qualify as Black. Some would say, well, you know what? If you have less than 50% of African ancestry, you can't call yourself Black. Some people might argue that. But let me ask you those of you who believe that, let me ask you this. When Fat Joe says, I'm Black, Puerto Ricans are Black, and you look at Fat Joe's ancestry, why are many of us accepting of the fact that Fat Joe says that he's Black and we have no problem with it? We accept that fact so much that we allow him to say the N-word recklessly, at will, and he gets no accountability for it. I guarantee if you analyze his genetics, you probably won't find any African ancestry. But for some reason, we were duped into believing that Puerto Ricans, by stating that they're Puerto Rican, automatically means that they have African ancestry. Let's understand something. Puerto Ricans with African ancestry in general is about 20%. So what that means is that most Puerto Ricans don't have any African ancestry. That's what that means. Most has little to no African ancestry, but yet we accept Puerto Ricans as being African. We have no problem with that. But here's Kamala, yes, I say. Here's Kamala, who has at least 32% 0.5% African ancestry, and we got a problem with it. She's not Black. Let's examine why we think like that, and what is the purpose for disqualifying her from being Black? What is there to gain? Oh, I remember she said, I think it was in 2019, she said, well, in reference to reparations, oh, I'm not going to do anything specifically for Black people. Oh, Black people got all up in arms. Oh, I thought she was on team FBA. What's up with that? So we dogging her out because she told the truth. Think about it. If she's going for a national office, the highest office in the land, does it make any sense for her to say, as she campaigning, I'm going to make sure Black people get reparations? We're 13% of the population. Remember, John Henry Clark said, we have no friends. We have no allies. Who's going to team up with us? Who's going to ally with us to make sure we get reparations? This is our fight alone. We can't expect Kamala Harris to launch a campaign talking about giving reparations to Black folks. Don't get me wrong, we deserve it, but you can't expect her to do that and win. Take in consideration this. It takes two branches of the government to pass a bill. Both houses of Congress and the president. Now, the Congress, all you need is a majority. But the Senate, you need a supermajority, meaning you need 60 members to vote for something like that. Currently, the Senate is split, well, it's not totally split, but it's 51-49 in favor of the Democrats. Can you imagine these white Republicans saying, oh, if I, give up 8 or 9 of their members to give Black people reparations? They're not going to do it. And see, part of that is our fault. You know why it's our fault? Because in the midterm elections, we don't vote. So these Republicans continue to get into office because their people will vote. We don't do midterms. We'll do the presidential elections, but any other election, local elections, midterm, we sit home. We got other things to do. We got to watch Housewives of the Land and all that kind of stuff, and watch the football game, whatever the case may be. We're too busy as Black folks to vote. So the Congress continues to be majority white. So no matter, even if you put a Black person in there, if the Senate doesn't pass the bill, if the Congress doesn't pass the bill, a president can't sign a bill. So part of the responsibility, if you want reparations, then you got to vote. It's plain and simple. You got to vote in the midterms. You got to vote for people who want to fight for reparations in order for it to happen. One person can't do it alone. And here's the other issue. If a white person says they're not going to do nothing for Black people, nobody has an issue. We accept that. But if a Black person trying to get to the highest office in the land says it, oh, we have a problem. That is a huge problem. So let me give you another example. People say, oh, she just turned Black. This was Donald Trump said. She just turned Black. She said that she was South Asian before. And now all of a sudden she just happened to turn Black. Let me read this. This is, like I said, this is from Reuters. In 2012, interviewed host of a digital news organization, Harris, the Rapia attorney, I don't know what that means, but Attorney General, referred to herself as both African American and Asian American. So there's episodes where she referred to herself as both, and she has every right to refer to herself as both. There's nothing wrong with that. And to hold her to this whole issue, oh, she only could claim one thing, is ridiculous. Now, I remember that the Trump campaign put out this video of her and Mindy Kaling, that's that Indian actress, doing a cooking show. And let me read the quote where in the video, Harris, okay, let me see where it says, okay, this clip shows Harris cooking Indian food with actress Mindy Kaling, who is of Indian heritage. In the video, Harris responds, yes, yes, when Kaling says she is Indian. When Kaling says the two women are South Indian, Harris responded by saying, you look like the entire one half of my family. So she's honoring, she wants Mindy to understand she comes from two different groups of people. She's just not claiming South Asian heritage. Again, she has a right to do that. You know, to hold her to this standard that she only could claim one, and somehow she loses her black card if she ever mentions the word South Asian. That's just ridiculous. That's just, I find it totally ridiculous. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to have the same smoke, if you're going to have this, that kind of smoke for Harris, have it for Trump. Have it for Trump. Analyze his record. What is Trump going to do for black folks? What has he proposed for black folks? The only thing a lot of people are concerned of, and rightly so, I agree, the immigration issue is a huge issue. Am I for immigration? Absolutely not. I wish those people stayed where they were. But unfortunately, they're here. And it's not Kamala's fault that they're here. We got laws in this country that says if an immigrant makes it to the border, all he has to do is turn him or herself over to border control and say, I am seeking asylum. And guess what? America can't turn them away. That's the law. But I agree. They pick and choose who they want to apply that to. Because I remember that picture, that photograph of that border control agent apparently or seeming to whip the Haitian migrant, the famous photo. I'm sure many of you seen it. Shortly after that photo, the Biden administration put a number of those Haitians on a plane and sent them back to Haiti, to a country that was in turmoil. So we know that there's racism. We know that Black migrants are treated differently than the Latin migrants. You know, they're not sending, listen, I can't speak whether or not how many Latin immigrants are turned away. But it sure made news to see all those Haitians being put on planes and they give them a care package as they land in Haiti. You know, so the point I'm making is the laws allow them to come. The laws also allow them to receive money too. I bet you didn't know that. I should have pulled up the laws. I looked up this earlier. So in Chicago, when people talk about, oh, the migrants get this for, you know, vouchers, and guess what? It's in the law. I should have pulled up the law. I was astonished to see to find that out. So a lot of things that is going on in this country is written in the law. And so it makes it more difficult for us to deal with. And this is why the Congress has to get together and figure out a plan between both parties, how we're going to deal with it. And as you know, that there was a immigration bill proposed by a Oklahoma, I think he was from Oklahoma. I'm trying to remember his name, a senator. I should have written his name down, but he was an Oklahoma senator, and he got with these other Democrats and proposed the most aggressive, basically more favorable conservative immigration bill possible. And Donald Trump told his people, his senators, to not vote for it because he wanted to use it for his campaign. And a lot of you people who support Trump, here you had before, there was an effort to get the stem the tide of it, and Trump stood in the way of that. But now you want to honor Trump as he's some savior for immigration. Let me tell you something. There is no way that he's going to put all these people on planes and send them back. You know why? This country survives. It runs on immigrant labor. It runs on immigrant labor. these people, these corporations would go crazy if they didn't have the workers. And then people would say, oh, well, that means there are more workers, there's more jobs for the rest of us. Not really. There are only a certain amount of jobs that we're willing to do, especially Black folks. A certain amount of jobs we're willing to do. Half of the jobs, most of the jobs that the immigrants will do, we're not going to do. Let's face it. We ain't going to the field and picking any grapes. We ain't going on roofs and doing some roofing. Many of us ain't going to do a whole bunch of landscaping. Many of us are not going to go into the hospitality business cleaning hotel rooms. Many of us are not going to meat packing places, cut meat. Come on, man. These jobs that you think they're taking, these are jobs that you don't want. And it might sound like I'm pro-immigrant. No, but don't fool yourself in thinking that they're taking a lot of jobs from you when most of those jobs you don't want to do. Keep it a buck. You don't want to do them. So these immigrants that don't have nothing are willing to do what we don't want to do. Yeah, you could hire us, but then you want $20 an hour, $21 an hour to pick grapes. It ain't gonna happen. So you're not gonna do that job. The immigrant will do it for minimum wage. Whose fault is that? They're paying them minimum wage. That's all they have to pay. But you're not gonna go out there and work for minimum wage. So what are you complaining about? Do what you can and make your own business, create your own business. You know what I'm saying? So until the laws are changed, these immigrants are going to come. And let me get back on Kamala Harris first before I forget this point. They talk about, oh, she was the border czar. Oh, she let all these people in. The only thing she went down there to do was to see how she could stem the tide of migrants coming from Guatemala, right? Find out what can America do to make sure those people stay there. Now, I remember 3 years ago, she did a press conference and she told those migrants, don't come. People say she's pro-immigration. Look it up. About 3 years ago, a press conference. She said, don't come. Migrants, stay where you are. If you come, we're going to turn you away. That's what she told the migrants. She did a press conference like that. So think about it. If she's pro-immigration, why would she say that? Why would she have a press conference saying that? So a lot of the stories about Kamala Harris is just made up. And like I said, if you have smoke for her, have smoke for Donald Trump. Nobody, anybody, all the people that was on social media making these videos about Kamala Harris, dogging her out about her race, that she's not Black, don't have no smoke for Donald Trump. What has Donald Trump promised to do for us? Oh, that's right, the Platinum Plan. Yeah, that's the one that Ice Cube spoke to about with Trump. So they come out with this Platinum Plan. All right, now I'm going to show you how disingenuous the Platinum Plan is, because basically it's a federal assistance program to help Black folks. That's basically what it is. Now, it can't happen. You know why it can't happen? Because there will be people who will sue the government to make sure that doesn't happen. How do I know that? They did it with affirmative action. Anything that these races think will benefit Black folks, they're going to sue the government, take it to the Supreme Court that's filled with Donald Trump's appointees, and they're going to get rid of it. Donald Trump knows that. When they drafted that Platinum Plan, he knows it's not going to pass. You would be a fool to think it would pass, because someone will file a lawsuit to make sure it doesn't happen. That's what we got to be aware of. We can't be stupid to think that they're going to do something for us. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a organization of women entrepreneurs that was put together to aid and help Black women in their entrepreneurship. And there was a lawsuit against them. How dare these Black women get money? And this was their own money. It wasn't federal money. This is money that they raised to help other Black women. And a racist, I think he was the same guy behind the affirmative actions lawsuit, filed a lawsuit to try to prevent them from servicing Black women. So let's be clear. There's nothing, we can't expect them to do for us that we should be doing for ourselves. Let's stop buying into this notion that any politician, white, blue, green, brown, whatever, is going to do anything for us. We have to figure out a way to do it for ourselves. So let me tell you about this thing, the Project 2025. Let me show you the contradiction, and I'm going to take one little excerpt that's going to talk about education. Let me read for you from, this is from the Platinum Plan that talks about funding for colleges. This is in the Platinum Plan that Ice Cube and Donald Trump negotiated from. This is a part of it. It says federal government, okay, let me see. Spur innovation ecosystems by connecting minority institutions with the federal government, broad range of scientific and engineering research and development, increase the amount of Pell Grants. Hear that? Increase the amount of Pell Grants and allow for vocational employment. Now, anybody that went to college, if you come from a low income background like I did, I got assistance through Pell Grants. Under Project 2025, if Donald Trump gets in office, that goes by the wayside. No more Pell Grants. Nothing that will help you if you're low income and you have college aspirations. Only way you could go there, you have to borrow money. But let me read this. Let me see if I can find it. This is from the part of the Project 25. Okay. That includes the Department of Education. Okay, all together. The Department of Education oversees, because they want to eliminate the Department of Education. Let me say that first. This is the goal of Project 2025, to eliminate the Department of Education. In other words, no more funding from the federal government, or very little to no funding for the federal government, for K through 12 education. Now, this speaks to after K to 12, okay? The Department of Education oversees federal education policies, programs, funding from K to 12 to post-secondary institutions, administers federal financial aid programs. So the collects data, ensure compliance with federal laws regarding civil rights and equal access to education. So let me read that part again. It says funding from K to 12, post-secondary institution administers federal financial aid. Financial aid. It's going to eliminate financial aid. So in other words, the Platinum Plan is contradictory to Project 2025. So if you want, and I encourage people to look into Project 25 and understand that the country that you know today won't exist. I'm only going to I touched on a little bit about the education. There's so much out there. And you do yourself a disservice if you don't look into that. And if you want to vote for, you vote for whoever you want to. Vote for whoever you want to. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but be an educated voter. Understand that there are consequences to your vote. And if you're going to vote for Donald Trump, understand what's at stake. And if you want to take a chance and lose the freedom that you know of today, you know, like women federally will be forbidden to have any kind of abortion, no matter what, you vote for Trump. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, well, he denied, he said he had nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with 2025. He's disavowed it. Come on, stop it. Don't be foolish. Some people say, oh, no, it's not going to happen. You know, nothing's going to happen to a democracy. Listen. Imagine if the governor of Georgia and the state, what's it called? State Secretary of Georgia, Raffensperger, if they were the MAGA Republicans, they would have found the 11,870 votes for Donald Trump. So when you say that's not going to happen, that can't happen, don't be a fool. It can happen. Let me tell you, people say, oh, well, you know, that was all a fraud. Before Fannie Willis got in trouble, messing around with her top prosecutor, I think there were 3 people who were indicted, pleaded out. You ain't gonna plead out if you didn't do anything wrong. So clearly there was a lot of things going on with the Trump administration, with the fake electors and all of that. If Pence was a MAGA Republican, in the strongest sense, he would have sent those votes back to the state, and they would have put their fake electors, brought it back to Pence, and he would have certified the election, and Donald Trump would have been our president today. So now with the Supreme Court totally in his hands, what is there to stop him? He got immunity. He could do whatever he wants. There's nothing to stop him. So if you got smoke for Kamala, bring that same energy and smoke for Trump. Give the people, if you're doing the people a public service by having these channels, these YouTube channels, do both sides, analyze both sides, tell people to make educated decisions about their vote. Let's not get caught up in this trivial nonsense about race. Is she black or not? She's black. I feel like this, if Fat Joe is black, if Puerto Ricans by nature of calling themselves Puerto Rican is black, how is it that Kamala is not black? Be consistent. If she's not black, Puerto Ricans ain't black. Here you got Dominicans don't want to be black. You're forcing them to be black. Dominicans said, me no black. And you and a lot of us Negroes out here, oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Come on, man. Here this woman lived her life as a black woman, went to an HBCU, pledged black sororities. I hear people say, oh, she pretended that she's pandering to black folks. She's not black. I mean, she didn't grow up as a black American. What she know about hot sauce and collard greens? If she's around a whole lot of black people, certainly she went over their houses, their parents' house, communed with them, understood the kind of food black people ate. She's not being disingenuous if she said that. Now, Hillary Clinton was, when I think she appeared on the Breakfast Club and talked about pulling out some hot sauce out of her pocketbook. Now that's disingenuous. We know Hillary Clinton ain't eating no damn collard greens. But Kamala is not Hillary Clinton. And I don't think it's fair to say that she is and say that she's not black. Now, no one has a right to tell another person, are they black enough? You know, being, you know, race, having a particular, being a part of a particular race is a social construct anyway. She identifies as black. She has always identified as black. And sometimes identified as both. There's nothing wrong with that. Be an educated voter. Learn about both sides. Don't be caught up in this. I guess it's almost like it's the thing to do. This trend. Let's bash Kamala. Let's do a video on bashing Kamala. Go on YouTube. That's all you see. Bashing Kamala. Or she's not black. Start with the nonsense. Again, have the same energy for Trump. Educate your people. All right, hey, Brass, brother, I'm done with my little monologue. So I just want to, you know.
Man, let me tell you. Well, all I'm going to say is this. I'm going to try to be as impartial as possible, just to let y'all know, right? I know it's a little strange on different channels. On our channel, on Chef's channel, this is dual streamed on 3 separate channels. Chef will be in the chat in a second. We're just waiting on him to come back to his chair. You're going to see shows on True Savior's channel that might start with just Chef. long as this stuff is on topic, you'll see shows on all these channels. We're streaming live on 3 separate channels. Follow Tribe Media, follow True Savior's channel, and follow Chef's channel. So it might be a little strange to see True Savior, but get used to it. This is new media. This is how we doing it now. We're gonna push good conversations. Waiting on my brothers Tribe Media to come to the building. My brother Hits, Logic. We got a lot of people in the chat. So you said a lot of things for me personally that was a little. Now I will say you this. You said a lot of facts. Definitely. I personally don't want to have the conversation about Kamala Harris publicly, because it's just, to me, it's just going to be seen as another black man bashing Kamala Harris. And I don't like talking about politics publicly anyway. But I will say this. There's some political reasons why I don't really get along with her. I don't care about the black, Indian, white stance, any of that kind of stuff. But now, let me ask you a question. Why do you say that people think Fat Joe is black? You lost me a little bit on that one. And Puerto Ricans are black. I think Puerto Ricans are Puerto Ricans. I don't think they black. I mean, I think he's a rapper. I think that's why they let him get away with the language that he uses. But flesh that out a little bit for me, and I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. I'm just waiting on Chef to come back. And for said Breeze, my political reasons for not supporting Kamala Harris. I still, to this day, she's run for president a few times. She's now running for president, literally. She's run for the nomination a few times. And I couldn't tell you what her stance is. And a lot of times, any of her stances on anything necessarily. I mean, there's a reel of her answering questions on immigration, on taxes, on a number of things where I can't figure out what she's saying. So I just want to say that. Shouts to you, Seth Breeze. You're an official guy. But my thing is mainly political, whereas I just want to know what her stances are. She doesn't even have her stances up on her website yet.
That's true.
I agree. Wild. That's wild. That is wild to me.
Yeah, I'm not defending her in terms of her positions, because again, like you, I really don't know all her positions. But if you've been following YouTube, you would see that they're not talking about that. They're talking about her being black or not being black. That right. Seems to be the conversation of the day. And I think it's a stupid argument, and it offers no value to how we move forward as a people. That's my position.
Right. Let me show you. If you look up KamalaHarris.com, right? it's hilarious.
I agree. I saw that. I saw that. Yes. I saw that. Yeah. That's ridiculous. I agree.
What are we doing here?
I agree. I'm not defending that. I'm not.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, my thing for her is just it's just when you go through, it's very difficult to get her stances. And the thing is, I could do the reel about, you know, how she doesn't answer questions. She's been doing that her whole political career. I think for most people that are just kind of new to her, right? There are people that are new to who she is. They think that this is where it just started, but she's notorious for never answering a question that you ask her. Like the classic interview about the immigration. No, the immigration. Did you see the immigration interview? Hold on, let me turn my camera on.
I think that was with Lester Holt, right?
Peace to the people. Yeah, with Lester Holt.
Yeah.
He says to her, he says, where's your stance? Have you been to the border? What's your stance on immigration? Right. And she says, we've been to the border. We've been to the border. We've been to the border. And then he knows that she hadn't been to the border yet. So then he says, you haven't been to the border. And then she says, well, I haven't been to Europe either. Like, that's just like a classic thing with her. So if I got some of her views, you know, if I got some of her views or some of her stances on things, and just to see where she kind of stood, it would be a little different. But it has nothing to do with necessarily his back. But could you flesh out the Fat Joe thing? I'm waiting on my brother.
Man, that's easy. Fat Joe has consistently said it was black. He consistently. If you go on YouTube and watch many of his videos,
I don't care what he says.
Yeah.
And trust, it's true. Do me a favor. You might go have to take your jacket off. It's gonna get a little hot.
No, it's not.
Only reason I say
No, it's not.
only reason I'm saying
No, it's not.
I'm gonna tame in this conversation. It's the chat. Yeah, I remember we on 3 channels, and there are some distinct Trump haters in here. There's some distinct Kamala supporters in here. So you're gonna get a mix. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna
You know
make some
what?
good content.
As long as they can defend their position, I'm good with it. You know
Okay, good. Because guess who else
it.
just came? Guess who else just came to the building? Your favorite TMI member, my brother Logic, is in the building. So now I know that Fat Joe might think he's black, and then I'm gonna let Chef come in and speak to the people. I know Fat Joe thinks that he's black, but when you said that we think he's black, or that's maybe why we allow him to say the word, in word. Why do you really think that we think that he's black too?
Yes, certainly we do. Certainly we do. Because Puerto Ricans, we see Puerto Ricans as part of the African diaspora, right? And many Puerto Ricans will say, "Oh, we come from 3 different groups: European, the Taino Indians, and Africans." So they said by the fact that they come from Africans as well, they can say that they're black. You got European-looking Puerto Ricans will say that they're black. It's not just Fat Joe, and for the majority of us, because a lot of us buy into this Pan-Africanism, we allow them to say that they're black, and that's I mean, I doubt if anybody could contradict what I'm saying in regards to that. Okay. You ask many Puerto Ricans, they will say that they're black too. That's
all right. My brother Chef, peace to you. I know you was out. You got the gaming in the background. I think we have created a monster with the gaming. But I was talking to Chef who he's in the back chat, and I can't wait to hear your opinion on this. Shouts to you. Shouts to Carnivorous Podcast. Corey, what's going on? G, waiting on you to come up. Go ahead, boss.
Oh, what's going on? What's going on, Truth? I ain't never met you before.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, but I liked your conversation the other day that you had with Logic. You was beating him up real good. So you know what I mean?
He makes it easy. He makes it easy.
He did. And that's my guy. Look, Logic, you my guy. I already told you I know how I feel. You know what I mean? For everybody to be against you and you the one who is actually right. You know what I mean? I know how it feel, right? So you already know how I feel. Because you going up against me, I think you dead ass wrong. You know what I'm saying? I think you're making a snarky argument more than, so I hope you can somehow get it together, because it seemed like you just trying to go against black people for some odd reason. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's crazy. All right. Like, we can't create a music genre without other people. It's just nuts to me. But anyway, Truth, back to and the fact that we can't make a music genre while living in a metropolitan situation with different cultures around us. That seems to be the problem. You act like we don't live in our separate communities inside of America, inside of metropolitan America. The black community has always been a separate enclave inside of metropolitan America, and we had our own thing going on. It's crazy that you act like just because we live in a metropolitan and you have different communities that interact with us, somehow they helped us in our creation of something. That's nuts. That means James Brown that means James
I
Brown.
feel like you've been waiting to get this off.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm being patient. I'm letting them get it all out.
Go ahead,
right? But we have always done this, right? We have always done this. James Brown and all of them, lived amongst, white people with some of their early patronage that came to patronize them, right? So, it's crazy to say that we needed other people when we actually was the ones that created. But anyhow, Kamala Harris. Black people, y'all make me sick. You feel me? Y'all literally make me sick because everybody has to prove their blackness to y'all. You dig what I'm saying? We're trying to fight against Trump and the sickness, you know what I mean, that he brought to the country. And the best candidate to go against him, y'all want to sit here and argue whether she's black or not. Like, so that's going to determine whether you vote for her, you know what I mean, or Trump, or will it make you sit home and not vote because you don't feel as though she's black enough? So we supposed to give the country back over to Trump, right, and his supporters for the next 4 years because y'all don't feel like this woman is black enough. And the fact that y'all would act like a Jamaican, a Jamaican of African descent is not motherfucking black now? Like, where do y'all even come from? Like, where do y'all even come from? And then the guy say the mother raised her daughters as black women, knowing the racial connotation that her black father will have on their standing in society. She made them proud to be black women. And because of the simple fact she don't deny her mother, she's not black enough for y'all, then y'all got to go dig up white people and her father's ancestry to try to further prove that she's not black. Well, if you go back in any of our ancestry, you're going to find white people. So is that means that I'm not black now? You dig what I'm saying? So we got to stop this nonsense, right? We only hurt ourselves, right? And we hurt the country when we act like that this woman can't be considered black. Now, about the Puerto Ricans, that's a touchy subject, right? Because the more African you look, you can't deny your blackness. Now, a lot of Puerto Ricans, right? The majority of them now can deny their blackness and they can claim just Puerto Rican, which you have other Puerto Ricans who look just like us where their African ancestry is too pronounced in their phenotype. So they don't have no way to get away from it. It's like these African Puerto Ricans don't have a say-so, right? We don't talk about them. They call themselves Afro Puerto Rican or Afro Boricuas or whatever, however you say it, right? And the white looking Puerto Ricans actually call those Puerto Ricans black and treat them different. So there is a such thing as an Afro Latino who have the phenotype that they can't get away from. So that exists, but Fat Joe is not one of them. So I think Fat Joe is being a culture vulture, right? He knows exactly what he's doing. Fat Joe know not to come in my grandfather's house looking the way he looked, using the word nigga. He do that for the hip hop community because most of the hip hop community is so goddamn ignorant that they'll let this man walk around using the word nigga. It's crazy. But Fat Joe know not to go in no older black person house using that word. He know that would be taken as disrespect. You know what I mean? He know when to use that, and he know when to use and who to use that around, right? And these foolish African Americans let him get away with that. I don't agree with Fat Joe. Fat Joe is definitely not black. He know he's not black. He play black around African Americans. You know what I mean? That's that's his business. That's what he does for his base. He has a financial interest in trumping that up. You dig what I'm saying? But he knows that's not real. You know what I mean? Like he said, he blue eye, blonde hair. You dig? He know he's not African. Bullshit. Just because he can rap, you know what I mean? He black community, we accept everybody. I didn't heard black people call Eminem black. He a black man. You know what I mean? He black culture. He black. We say the most ridiculous stuff to try to include everybody because we want partners. We always want more people. We always want more partners. We want people to be down with us. We want to be accepted. So we try to accept everybody who seems like they're a little bit cool. Bill Clinton was the first black president. Why? Because this motherfucker like to play the goddamn jazz saxophone. Since he played the jazz saxophone and said he smoked weed before, now black people was going to automatically, he was the first black president because he did ignorance. He smoked weed So we gonna say he's honorary black person. We're nuts. So don't listen to black people, right? If they say Kamala is not black, don't listen to them. They're the same people that said Bill Clinton was black. So don't listen to them. She got a black Jamaican father, and all intents and purposes in America, she is classified as black. When we would see her on the street, if she didn't tell us her mother was Indian, we would call her a light-skinned black woman. It's case closed. All right, y'all can go ahead. Go ahead, get him Logic. Beat truth up. I'm out.
I gotta get with you first, man, because golly, you was. But you know what? Definitely tip my cap to you, man. Chef, he one of my favorite people to talk to. You know, we might have some disagreements on some stuff. You know, his blackology might bleed a little thicker than mine. That's okay. You know, I don't hold any resentment towards the guy or his points of views at all. You know, I appreciate you coming on, True Savior. I wanted to make sure that I'm hearing everything that you're saying correctly, because it sounds like I heard you say a bunch of times that you're like encouraging people to go out and voice their opinion through their vote. And I think that that's probably the most important thing that you said. That was the part I liked the most about what you said, because we absolutely have to do that. Because I think the reality is whether we go vote or not, there will be a new president, right? Whether we like their policies or not, they will attempt to implement them, right? Whether that's Agenda 25, whether that's the Platinum Plan, so on and so forth, right? If we don't, give ourselves a voice at the ballot, we basically are just allowing whatever it is that they do to just happen to us, right? We have no defense against laws and policies if we don't participate. That's the main thing, that I think that's really important for everybody to understand. Now, the part that I did disagree with, right? I disagree with what you are saying about Kamala in terms of you're saying that you would consider her black, right?
Yes, definitely.
But you're also FBA, right?
It's a difference, brother. Come on now. Don't do that. It's a difference. Black and FBA is different.
What's the difference?
You could be a black Jamaican and not be FBA.
You can?
No, you don't do this. Don't do this, Logic. Come on now.
Don't do what? I'm asking you the question.
Dumb. Don't do that now. You're smarter than that. You're smarter than that.
I'm asking you the question.
You're smarter than that, Logic. Don't do that. You trying to tell me you don't know the difference between an FBA and a black Jamaican?
No, I mean, look, maybe you could teach me something if you would just kindly.
Oh my God. I really got to do that? Come on now.
Yeah, you got to do that.
I'm not going to do that because I shouldn't have to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you got to do that. But
I'm not going to do that.
I actually took the liberty.
I'm not going to do that. Come on, man.
To go to the Foundation of Black Americans website.
Come on, man.
I went to the website created by the, I guess the person who's leading the charge. I believe it's, I can't think of the guy's name right now. Tariq Nasheed, right? And it says right here, who is foundational Black American and who is not? If a person's maternally or paternally lineage traces back to slavery in the Caribbean, they are not considered foundational Black American. Now, that's what it says.
Yeah.
Now, here I am, again, I'm sure you're going to try to beat me up because I'm reading. I don't know if you hate the fact that I actually like to read and try to source some of the stuff that I'm saying. But when you consider her Black, are you just disagreeing with the whole notion of how FBA determines who's Black and who's not?
Her father is, okay, listen, her father is Black.
Her father is Jamaican.
He's a Black Jamaican. He's an African Jamaican.
Isn't Jamaica in the Caribbean?
Yes.
It is. Well, I mean, it says right here, if they're from the Caribbean, they're not considered Black.
So hold on. So
Chef, you can take
Chef, stay out of this, Chef.
No, I gotta ask you a question. So
no, you gotta ask me.
In order for me to be FBA, I have to agree with everything the FBA say.
Steph, didn't I say stay out of this?
No, I'm just asking the question because I understand. So are you a foundational Black American? Do your ancestry go back to the slaves, to the African slaves of the United States? Do your I'm asking you, Logic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so by definition, you will fall into the category of FBA. Now, you don't have to agree with everything the FBA say. So if the FBA say, if I know that in general, I fall in line to be considered a foundational Black American, I don't have to agree with the FBA when they try to include the Moors into it and the Aborigines. That's nonsense. You
Chef,
think what I'm saying?
Chef, you can't kind of like wiggle out of this, right? It's like how you gonna be a Christian if you don't believe in Christ? I mean, at some point, I mean, I get what you're saying that you don't have to wholeheartedly agree, but when it comes to some fundamental points of what actually makes you an FBA, I think that's where it kind of like is important. It seems like who's Black and who's not's a pretty fundamental thing about who's FBA. So let me ask somebody who's familiar with FBA.
So let me
their
ask
opinion
you
about it.
Right. So let me ask you, before Tariq Nasheed came up with his definition of FBA, did you ever question whether Jamaicans was Black?
How in the world can you be FBA and before it was invented?
That's what I'm saying. Listen, you existed before that term. All of those FBA people existed before that term FBA got put into use by Tariq Nasheed. So I'm saying, did the Black community, including you, as an African, I'm gonna use African American, did you ever question?
Let this man stand on his own 2 feet right now.
I'm asking you because I want to get to the heart of this shit.
Man,
right?
We're not talking about how I used to be confused about anything or anybody else.
So you calling Jamaicans?
I'm talking about an organization whose foundation is built on who is Black and who is not.
So
right? The whole entire concept is built off of who's Black and who's not.
No, it's not.
That's why they harbor
Hold on.
So I'm asking.
Website again.
Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna let after Chef go. I'm gonna let True Saver respond. I'm gonna go right back to you, Logic. I promise. Just let them, because the production ain't good. All
right. My bad. Yeah. I'm just asking a simple question because I'm trying to get your point of view, Logic, before you question everybody to hell. You dig what I'm saying? I'm asking you, before Tariq Nasheed made the FBA, right, and put all this confusion into the air, all these things that you disagree with now, did you have a problem with considering Jamaicans and Jamaican Americans as Black people? Because you can see the African features, that those same features that's on us, you seen in Jamaican, so you seen that African ancestry, so we considered them Black. They say that they Black. I'm confused at why. So you just got an issue with Tariq Nasheed?
No. See, you're muddying up the conversation, right? So,
I'm gonna get out of it. Hold
on. Let me answer what he's saying though. I do want to answer what he's saying, because there was one crazy time where I thought the Egyptians were Black. I thought the dang who the people that came to America with Van Sertima. The Olmecs, I thought the Olmecs was Black. I thought the people in South India was Black. I thought they had Black Japanese people at one point in time. I thought they had some Black Irish people at one point in time. I thought all the Moors was Black. So just because at one point in time I was wrong, now that I know it's wrong, I'm supposed to continue with my misconception of what I now know is absolutely wrong. So look, again, so back to what the actual website says.
Jamaican, right? I'm gone. Y'all
look, it's what it say right here, man.
They blacker than African Americans, yo. That's nuts.
This is what I agree it's nuts, but this is what it say on their website. They say Caribbeans are not considered foundational Black Americans. So I got a foundational Black American calling them Black, and it's obviously Caribbean.
They not foundational Black Americans. I agree, but are they Black?
Good, Truth. Good, Truth.
The definition is simple, really. It's basically talking about foundational Black Americans. Basically mean, are you a descendant of slaves in America? That's basically what it is. So a Black Jamaican can't be FBA if he was born after slavery in America in another country. He's not foundational. He's just Black. It's that simple. I don't know what's so complicated about that.
Oh, boy.
So
Okay.
so Truth, let me ask you a question. So if Kamala Harris, let's just say Kamala Harris, and welcome to the channel Bustetto, and I think that's Haskell. I want to say that's Haskell. If she came out and said that she wasn't FBA, let's say I don't think she would do that, but let's just say she said that. Would that affect your vote for her, or would that? I don't know. Flesh that out for me.
I think it doesn't matter what she. I think we're too silly as Black folks to get caught up in whether or not she's Black or not. We should be voting for who is more likely to help us as opposed to hurting us. And I see in this present climate, Trump will do more harm to us than Kamala Harris. So I'm not caught up in her racial identity as much as some people are.
Okay, cool. Bustetto, you in the building. Haskell, you in the building. Go ahead, Logic. Just remember, it's a lot of people on the
right. I'm not gonna take up a whole bunch of time. Right. I'm actually even less concerned about her color than you are. I'm more concerned with how you're determining her as being Black when you actually are FBA. That's actually what it is. And I think the real problem here, and I'm probably gonna have to say it more than one time so people can hear me actually say it. Right. I think it's gonna be very difficult for you to say, let's become educated voters when it's very difficult to pin down any of her stances on anything. There's not much to educate yourself on.
I agree.
Especially since then what's there for us to educate ourselves
on? Listen. Check this out. Give her an opportunity to have her convention. Okay. She only been on the campaign trail for 3.5 weeks, I believe, something like that. Give her opportunity to go at the convention. I'm sure she has to lay out her platform then. We'll get an idea of what she has to say. Don't be so in a hurry. Give her time. She just started. Give her time.
I think she's been in politics for quite a while.
Well, she hasn't had the opportunity to present her case as a vice president. You know as well as I do, as a vice president, you have very limited ability to say what you want to say. You have to be in the shadows of the president. So she couldn't present her positions in that role. So now that the convention is coming up, let's wait and let's see what she's going to say. Let's be patient.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, let me say this. But at the end of the day, I would go with her before I would go with Trump, because Trump already is telling us what he's going to do. So
yeah, Trump's not my favorite, but at least I know where he stands. I think
you're okay with
that.
Trump. You're okay with his position.
No, I just said he's not my favorite. I don't like him as a candidate. I feel like it's unfortunate that the Democrats haven't produced a candidate probably strong enough to run a formidable campaign against him. I think that's probably
I think Kamala's doing a great job right now.
She's doing a great job. How? She hasn't given you any policy.
Have you looked at the polls lately?
So we're talking about polls and not policy again?
Isn't that what politics is about?
No, I said policy.
No, but isn't that what polls are about?
We have no idea what she plans to do when she gets to office, but she's doing a great job.
Let me ask you something. What is Trump going to do? Give me 2 things that Trump is going to do.
I mean, well, he kind of did some pretty good stuff with the economy.
No. Name 2 things for this coming election season that he's going to do for us.
And I saw him. I did see him not fold under pressure. I think he did some really good things with foreign affairs. I'm talking about, when I say pressure, COVID-19 was a lot of pressure on the whole world.
He did disastrous for that.
I don't think he did terrible.
He was disastrous on that.
Yeah, it could have been better. It could have been better. I'm
asking you.
I'm not calling him a perfect candidate. Hold up a second. I'll let you talk.
I'm asking you, moving forward, though. Moving forward, what has he proposed to do that's positive for all of Americans, not just Black Americans, but all Americans? What has he proposed to do?
I think one of his biggest running things is that he is interested in creating more jobs for people, and I think that doesn't necessarily specify which group of people he'll make the jobs for. I would like to think that unemployment would become decreased in the Black community. So I think that's actually really important in terms of how we can move forward and generate some more wealth in our community. I think that's really important. Now,
realize,
as far as like when Kamala Harris was asked the question, like how she would deal with inflation, I ain't gonna say kind of, she didn't give an answer. She didn't give any sort of leaning in any direction. She just acknowledged that yes, it's a problem, but she didn't take that opportunity to state her ideas on how she would fix it. So I mean, stuff like that is a bit concerning, right? I mean, we're getting late into the process, and I definitely would like to hear whether I agree with it or not, right? I would definitely like to hear her stances on things, and I'm to some degree, I do appreciate being able to know where somebody stands rather than be constantly guessing on what they would actually do. I think that has its own value. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that everything that he's going to do is going to be, geared towards helping the Black community. But as far as what Kamala do, I don't have any idea which way she'll lean. From all intents and purposes, she typically doesn't answer questions. Well, she answers questions very vaguely and doesn't really, give you any insight as far as what she would do. So right quick, right before I get derailed one more time.
Hey, listen. We got 5 people on the panel.
Can I just read one sentence?
That's fine. Read the sentence, but let's be courteous to the rest of the group. Go ahead.
I'm going to relinquish the floor after I read this one sentence. If you're a person classified as Black who has one parent from an immigrant background and another parent who can be traced to the American slave plantations, neither one of her parents fit this description, so then you are considered a foundational Black American. Now we can move on. I've doubled down 2 times. I've given you a source from the website of what FBA considers a Black American.
One thing. I don't think Kamala has ever said that she was foundational Black American. I don't think she's ever said that. So let's be certain of what she claims. Okay.
So you can be Black and not a foundation. What? Okay.
There's a difference.
I'm not gonna top the floor.
There's a difference.
Yo, you can't be serious.
No. So what he's actually doing is he's on, I guess conveniently.
No, that's not convenience.
What? Yeah, you're conveniently throwing the definition of FBA out.
I'm defining it the way it's supposed to be defined.
Place the label of Black on her when you're.
So the only way you can be Black is by being an FBA. So you're saying that the only way you can be Black is by being FBA.
Look, if you're FBA and you don't agree with the tenets of what it is to be a Black American, and you can
a Black American, you can say that again. A Black American. You can abandon the tenets of FBA anytime you get ready. Well, something doesn't add up there. Either the tenets have no value, or FBA kind of has no value. It's something going on in there, because from right there, what I'm reading, the qualifications are very clear as far as what it would take for you to become a Black American in the FBA protocol, and we're not using FBA protocol on Kamala. I mean, that's just period, point blank. That's clear to me. Now, whether I consider her a Black person or not, I haven't even begun that conversation. I've been simply asking the FBA member, represented, well, in this case, he's representing FBA. I'm asking if he agrees with the tenets of his own website. I can't do that.
You can certainly do that. And I'm going to say this last one final time. Foundational Black Americans, anybody, a Jamaican can be a Black person, African Jamaican can be Black. Doesn't matter where, if he's in the United States or from Jamaica, he's considered Black. But he's not foundational to this country. Now, if you have lineage to this country, then you're foundational. For example, let's say this quick. Let's say there's a child, right? Her mother is from Jamaica, father's from here. That child is considered FBA because one of the parents has lineage to the country. But the Jamaican is not foundational. I mean, I don't know how else to explain.
Hey, look, hey, bro, hey, this Haskell, man. How y'all doing, man?
How you doing?
How y'all doing? Good evening. Good. Listen, this Haskell. What's up, Chef? This is a Black Jamaican, right? Born in Jamaica in '82, came to the States in '95, right? Mm-hmm. The brother with the big glasses. I don't know how we have these discussions and have them be productive. For me personally, I don't know about anybody else, but I just can't do disingenuous conversations anymore. I'm over them. The brother with the big glasses, he's just being disingenuous. He knows, listen, I'm a black Jamaican, right? Again, came here when I was 13, 14 years old. I'm not FBA. I'm Jamaican, but you see my profile picture. I'm a black motherfucker with a big ass. No, we know what
Hey,
a
watch the
fucking
F
nigga
word.
is.
Watch the F word, Joe.
I'm sorry. We, that's why I said I'm probably gonna have to get off the panel shortly because I don't have the discipline, perhaps, of the other panel members. I don't like when people play. I don't like when people play, and I just can't sit around and try to have some sort of serious conversation with people who love playing games. I'm not FBA. I'm a black Jamaican. But we know full well that I'm black and Chef's black, right? There's a demarcation that's made between someone who can trace their lineage back to, insofar as the slave trade is concerned, someone who is, for lack of a better term, indigenous to this landmass, and someone who's indigenous to another. I mean, to me, the dude with the big glasses. I don't know who dude is.
His name is. Hey, hold on. His name is.
He good.
No, he's not good. His name is
I don't know the brother.
Which one you talking? Because people got different glasses on. Who you talking about? Logic?
You know the dude with the big old glasses, man. They're playing.
They both got
crazy.
glasses on. Haskell.
Olmec head.
Olmec. Okay, the Olmec head. Okay, you talking about Logic? Okay,
whoever brother name is, right?
Okay,
but I just really came up to back up my brother Sheffrin because he's an FBA. I'm a black Jamaican, and the dude with the big glasses, logical, he playing crazy, and he's not the first to play around. To me, if you're on the internet, right, and the internet is a beautiful thing because you can have people from different backgrounds have a platform to where you can convene and converse and perhaps build some sort of synergy to where you can do things that could have an impact in a real world setting. But for me, brother with the big glasses, those type of dudes who love to play games, them type of dudes is in the way. He playing. And I don't appreciate that.
In the way.
That's all I got to say.
What am I in the way of?
All right, appreciate that. Hey,
you know full well. He asked me a question. I'm going to answer it.
Go ahead.
Me and Chef fully, and everybody else on the panel knows what's the difference between a black Jamaican, a black Dominican, a black Puerto Rican, and an FBA. We all know what the difference is. Stop playing, bruh. Y'all, I can't do this, man. I just came up to bat my dog Chef up, but I can't sit here and play with niggas who love playing, bro. Y'all have a good evening, man.
Hey, I appreciate you, Haskell. Thanks, boss. Go ahead, Bustetto, and then we'll go back into I don't know, Chef, how you want to do this?
I don't know. Logic is going to be probably one of the most hated people. if he keep this nonsense up, man.
Bro, hey, Chef, my thing is this, bro. Man. In any conversation, right? Because guess what? Conversations build policy, right? A lot of times people look on online comments, oh, y'all just talking. But what do you think Congress does all day? They just they just talk all day, right? But if you have one person who's in the conversation who's trying to play coy and trying to play like they're clever and play games, right? All they're doing is throwing a monkey wrench into any sort of synergy and building any sort of momentum. And I don't appreciate human beings like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to cuss dude out. But you're just the worst type of human. You know what you're doing. Stop playing, bruh. I'm a black Jamaican, bruh. I came here at 14. I've been here 30 years, so I picked up a lot of mannerisms and the way how I talk is heavily influenced by black Americans. But I'm not a black American. We know the difference, bruh. Just like David Ortiz is a Dominican, we know he's a black dude, but he's from the Dominican Republic. You know it. Chef know it, and everybody else on the panel knows it. Stop the playing. That's all I'm saying, bro. I would hope everybody on the panel tonight, right? We're not just having idle conversation. The conversation, I would hope, is meant to build some sort of synergy between the people we'd call black, who are for lack of a better word, indigenous to Black America, right? And making some clear demarcations and moving in a concerted way towards a specific end, a specific goal, right? If I know that everyone else is moving towards a certain sort of goal, any sort of disagreements we have, or we can work through that. But when I know that a person is intentionally playing coy,
all right,
Chef,
Haskell,
help
we
me.
got all right, Haskell, you done fleshed it out. We got you, big fella.
Logic up there.
We got you. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna get to.
Man,
I'm gonna let Bustetto go, Pan African James, and we got about 30 minutes left. Pete, I appreciate that, Haskell. Thanks for the support. Go ahead, Bustetto.
Yeah, man. It just seems like Logic is he's like a contrarian almost. It's like, come on, man. You know what the definition is. You know the difference between an FBA or ADOS or Friedman and someone else who's black as well, but it's from a different landmass, pretty much. And then that's just the difference right there. And going back to the to slavery here in chattel slavery here in the United States. So that's just the difference. It's simple. It's not something that was created by Tariq Nasheed. It wasn't something that was created by Yvette Carnell or anybody like that. It goes back to when Emancipation Proclamation and getting out of slavery, and the Freedmen's Bureau was founded by the government. And coming out of there, those people who were down on the in the books, you could trace yourself, your lineage back to those books, back to those records. That's how you get to FBA. That's how you get to your lineage. That's how your quote unquote FBA. If one of your parents, traces back, going not just your parents, but their parents and so on and so forth, traces back to that time period into those records. And that's it. It's simple. It's simple. It's not something that was created by Tariq or anyone else. Not at all.
Appreciate that, Bustetto. Go ahead, Pan African James, and I'm gonna go back to Logic, Truth, and Chef. Go ahead, Pan African James.
Yeah, peace, everybody. Peace to the panel.
Peace to you.
I mean, I just find it disappointing as well, from Logic standpoint. But I'm not gonna, pile in, jump off the top rope, after everybody else is already But these naming conventions that we continue to keep running into is problematic. Now Chef pointed out that in the lexicon of our language here, that this is a new term, or this has just been popularized in the last 4 or 5 years. Now we're dividing ourselves based on these terms when we already know that Jamaicans are Africans in the same situation that we're in Americas. I'll just put it like that, because they're in the Americas too. They came on a slave boat just like us. And I don't understand why we forget this history. Like they just was already here, and they ain't some type of indigenous, different type of situation than we was in. They was on plantations and everything just like here. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get to the election part of it. So I also
hold on for a sec. I think that is it's more to it than they were on a slave ship and on a plantation system, and they're over here now, or
it's not about them being over here, because they don't, this FBA situation is trying to exclude them from even being African Americans, in the sense that they are Africans in the Americas. And that's just something that no. They're not Africans in the Americans.
You're saying it's trying to exclude them from that. You can't exclude them from that.
Well, that's what the FBA movement seemingly what they're trying to do.
I mean, if you're FBA, if you have Jamaican friends, family or you know, acquaintances. I mean, I've got plenty, and you know, they'll let me know straight up. You know, hey, you Yankee, and I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well,
I'm like,
They not saying they not black.
That's in the context of us being in the American situation.
But
that don't have any. I mean, I can't even believe we would even have to explain.
You have that conversation when they distinguishing their ethnicity to you. They're not saying that they're not black.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Right. So they can have their Jamaican.
We all know we're black. But
that's the whole point.
If they say you're Yankee, they're saying, oh, you're you know, from
from the United States.
From the States.
Finish up, James. Finish up, James.
Okay, so now let's get off into from the election standpoint. I don't understand why we haven't even went into representation for us to even get anything to have a vote for her on. Like, who is the representation for something that we need that we say, hey, if you do this, this, and that, we'll vote for you. And what is this, and that we need to get either one of these people's vote? Do we have any type of a list and a line of any type of demand that we need to get a vote? Where is that at?
Are you asking a rhetorical question, James?
Yes, I'm asking all of us because we're more focused on if she black, what Trump gonna do. We already know. I don't know what's going on. We in America, bro. We already know that no matter which side of this fucking bird that they flip,
language.
Oh, excuse me. Which side of this coin they flip it on, it's still gonna be the same thing for the last however many years this country's been in existence. It is not in the favor of the African American.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be,
we really need to focus on who is our representation and what do we need to make it better while we here, and who's going to get accomplished that. And where is that representation at? Like, I mean, like, we don't have our ducks in a row, is what I'm saying, as far as even having this conversation, because we're talking about ethnicity of this woman. What can we get done for us, and who's our representation to speak for the people that's on this panel, and what do we need? That's what I'm talking about.
So let me True Savior, you want to jump in there? Logic, I want to jump in there. I kind of want to stay out of it, but I want to say at least one thing when it comes to that. But go ahead, True.
I think I kind of heard what the brother was saying as far as the process that got her in the position that she's in right now. Like, who voted for that? You know, ideally you want a process like a primary and all that, but given the time constraints, I think the Democrat Party said, you know what, let's get behind someone who was vice president, or at least, you know, has the potential to be president since she was there. And let's just make this whole process easier. Now, I would have preferred, you know, a primary, but they're just, imagine they having a primary now and the convention is in a week. It would just be so much problem.
The optics would be terrible.
It would be horrible. So I think they thought it through, and they were smart to say, let's just get behind this person and let's just do it. And, you know, I can't fault them for that.
Let me ask you a question, Truth, because, you know, politics, this is my thing. Me and you probably need to have a separate show specifically on the actual politics, right? Now, would you say that they were being smart after being stupid for about 4 years?
Oh, yeah.
I think they definitely knew that Joe Biden was not going to be able to
exactly
to run again. This is something they should have prepared for. They said he started showing stages of this 2 years ago.
This is what I think would happen. I think that they were thinking that Trump would get indicted and be so, you know, contaminated, unelectable, that he would be out of the picture, and that Joe Biden would have an easier process. They never expected that he would be able to get out of all these particular trials and prolong.
They're not smart. They
outsmarted themselves. They outsmarted themselves because they said they figured we rather vote for an old crippled man than to vote for a criminal, and that's what they were banking on, and it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, that's a terrible plan. I mean, even if he was crippled, I mean, there's been presidents in wheelchairs that got elected, but I think one of the things they forgot is that, you know, when you start falling up the steps, falling down the steps,
Yeah.
you know, hugging people that you think are your wife, they're not your wife. You know, once you start doing stuff like that, you know, and that's really my main challenge. And that's one of my biggest challenges with Kamala, because I know for a fact she got 0 delegates in 2020. So I know in my mind right now, even within the Democratic Party, that even though she is the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, she would not have won the primary to be the nominee for the Democratic Party. I can think of 4 other people, off just 5. Newsom, Beto, the lady in Abrams, the black, I think, governor or mayor in Baltimore, Whitmer, and probably Walt. And probably Waltz, to be honest. I mean, he came out of nowhere, but people who kind of follow politics knew that he was a rising candidate also. But I'm just here to host the show. We'll have a separate conversation other time. I love to talk politics.
I have no problem with that. You're probably right.
Yeah, we got Anthony. We got Anthony on the panel, and then we're gonna let everybody close out. We close with Chef and True Savior, being that we live streaming on both channels. Go ahead, Anthony.
All right, so what do you want to? I mean, I know you guys talking about Kamala. What do you talk about?
The premise of the original show, we kind of got off into FBA, Pan-Africanism, and here's the thing. And James, I don't know if you're still here, but I would love one day to have a conversation with you. I don't think anybody has done it, or I haven't seen it, where we actually put these groups not as a debate. I just talked to True Savior privately, but not as a debate, but to really flesh out these delineations of these names of these groups and get a good idea of Pan-Africanism versus foundational Black American versus ADOS. I'll see if I can get Brother Lord Abba on and have some real conversations. Because I think what Logic brought up is important. I think that when he went to the website, right, and he was stating, and I think Logic has the FBA show coming up, about how technically Kamala wouldn't be FBA based on the information on the website. But and I never actually looked at the FBA website.
When did the FBA website get invented? See what I'm saying? Like, this is stuff we know this happened, man. Like, what's going on?
I think, James, but here's the thing, James. I think sometimes we all are we're probably a little bit more educated, not probably, I'm sure of it. Most people don't pay any attention to any of this stuff, James. They don't know. If you ask somebody what a Pan-African is, they couldn't tell you. If they ask you what an FBA is, they couldn't tell you. American Descendant of Slave, it's in the name, and they probably couldn't tell you. So I think I'm gonna have a show. If you don't mind, you come up and I know you Pan-African, that's your name. If you don't mind, I'd love for you to come up and just flesh it out with some brothers from different groups and just see what that's about. But the show, Anthony, was about Kamala Harris, a masterclass in outrage. True Savior laid out the platform of, you know, what's going on. Like, what is the big push, especially amongst Black people, to try to determine if she's Black, if she's Indian, if she's Asian or whatever. Just, you know, let's keep it to the politics. And where is this manufactured outrage coming from?
I think that's a very important point. It's not light. It's not light. It really isn't. You have to take into consideration, okay, first of all, she's not Black American. Just get that off the table. She's not my mother. If you're Black American, she's not your mother, okay? You have to understand. See, the thing about this is this. The reason that she wants to, and I'll use this term, cosplay or appropriate, because that's exactly what she's doing. The Black American is the premier American. He is the ultimate American. He or she is the only person that has been a slave on U.S. soil. We have shown the most resilience, the most courage, the most determination than any other group. We have created the culture of this nation. That's not an opinion, that is a fact. So the Black American is a very unique individual, not only in this country, but in the entire planet. Okay, in the entire planet. So it is only logical that someone would want to appropriate that if they have any melanin or try to come across as such. The disingenuousness of that is that she is not of the lineage of America. In other words, her family did not come through slavery. Okay, that is a fact. She did not come through U.S. slavery. Let's deal with the facts. That is a fact. She did not come through that. So what she's doing is trying to appropriate that legacy of strength, resilience, and courage. And she doesn't have a right to do that. Okay? It's disingenuous because some people say, oh, well, you know, she's saying she's black and she's Jamaican black. Look, she's in America. We ain't think about no Jamaican blacks here. So when she says that, she's implying that she's here. Collard greens and hot sauce. Who eats that? You see what I'm saying? It's disingenuous. So if you're disingenuous at the level of who you are as a human being and as a person, then how am I going to really trust you? I would have rather she just come out and say, listen, I'm Indian, I'm mixed or whatever, but don't try to act like you my mother, because you're not. You're not. I'm sorry, I can't give you that title. You see what I'm saying? See, we have to understand who we are as a people. I had a Dominican come time. You hear Dominicans say, oh, I'm not black. And they told you, they said, oh, I'm not black. I said, you know, you're not black. I said, you know why? Because you're not worthy of being that. you didn't come through that. So you haven't proved that you could even be that. You see what I'm saying? We have to understand who we are and understand the value of who we are. Because all I'm saying is, as far as her being black, no, I don't see that. She ain't that. And there's no way she can convince me or anyone else can convince me. That's just not even on the table for me. We ain't even discussing that because that's an untruth. She's not a black American. She's not, because that's who she's pandering to. And unfortunately, black people are just too emotional and not logical enough to look at the situation and say, no, that's not who you are. And it's not who she is. Her mother's Indian, and she comes from her mother's part of the Indian caste. They're very racist. They have a caste system there. Do you understand that? I work with a lot of Indians. Listen, man. Look, they could be very racist, and there's colorism huge in India. And I can assure you, the conversations at her dinner table were not the conversations at your dinner table. And we have to be real about that. So as far as that's concerned, to me, like, that's a moot point. No, you're not black. But even beyond that, getting into a more important thing, like what's our policy? First of all, the chick is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Let's keep it 100, man. She can't even speak that well. She's got word salad all over the place. I think and that's the reason why she has not done an interview and she's not been on TV, because you get a real good interviewer that asks her the complex questions, she's going to fumble the ball. Guaranteed she's going to fumble the ball. So she's not that articulate. She's not that sharp. I'm not saying she's, ignorant or anything like that. I'm just simply saying, I think in certain arenas, she's not going to perform that well. She's not. I think even the debate with Trump, she's going to have problems in that. I'm going to be honest. I think she's going to have problems. I think she's going to fumble the ball. I think her vocabulary and her is not strong enough. It's not strong enough. And her speech or her oratory skills are not strong enough to handle herself with somebody that can really challenge her. I think she'd be lost. And I think also, like you even said, she didn't even get no votes when she ran for president. So she's not that likable of a human being. Let's keep it 100. She's not. And she proved that when she ran. So and what is the platform that she's running on? I mean, what are we talking here? Is she running? Oh, you can get an abortion? Okay, so you can kill your child. You can kill your child. You can do that. The whole LGBT thing, or whatever the case may be. Listen, I'm not going to get into that. That's your personal preference.
We're not going to get into that.
We're not going to get into that.
No, I don't mind it. It's just, I can have a great conversation. It's just YouTube tends to.
I got you. We're going to leave that alone.
Especially during this time.
Yeah, we leave that alone. I totally get it. But, we have to look at the things as what's the platform that she's running on? What is she? And as black people, we have to. I don't care. We got it. What are you doing for us? And some people say, well, what is she like? This one guy, and I tell you, man, Isaac K's son. I'm like, yo, this dude must be on the payroll, man. He goes, when have you heard anybody say they're going to do something specifically for Latinos or specifically for Asian? Now, we know they had the Asian crime bill. It might have been named something else. But here's the point. You cannot compare a black American to any other immigrant. That is stupidity. You understand what I'm saying? You cannot talk. The history of America cannot even be told without black Americans. You can tell the history of America without a Puerto Rican. You can tell the history of America without Asians because they weren't part of the foundation. That's the term, foundational black American. We were here since the inception. We were brought here since the inception of this country. We fought in every war. We're the only ones that were slaves on this country. We deserve a special we deserve a special place when it comes to that, just like Indians, just like American Indians. What are we talking about? You can't compare us to no Puerto Rican. Puerto Ricans were not slaves on America. What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Indian Vivek Ramaswamy. His parents were not slaves on this country. They did not go through Jim Crow. Your father went to segregated school. He couldn't drink from the water from any water fountain he wanted to. You see what I'm saying? These are experiences that are particular to Black Americans, and we had to deal with this. So let's not throw us all in the same gumbo pot and think it's all cool, because it's not. We're not the same. So you can't compare us to any other group. We deserve a special place, and it deserves a special attention. And we deserve specific benefits specific to Black Americans because of what we went through in this country. Period. And I'll tell that to anybody. You can't.
All right, we're gonna. Okay, go ahead. Finish this.
But that's basically it. I mean, as far as that's concerned, I can go on about Kamala. You know what I'm saying? But I think once again, is what is she running? What's her policies? What's her plan? And she hasn't done that yet. She hasn't even taken a serious interview since she's got the nomination. She hasn't. What interview has she been on? What has she done? Then she does that rally in Atlanta, and she got Meg Thee Stallion twerk. That was a major insult. If people can't see that, I feel sorry.
Yeah, I'm afraid to discuss Kamala Harris publicly. I won't lie. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm terrified to have a conversation about Kamala Harris because the one thing, just out of respect. But listen, we're gonna close this off. We got a couple shows coming tomorrow. True Savior with another banger. I mean, and it's funny, Truth.
What's up?
Literally, the title, we went through every range of the manufactured outrage that the media has pushed into this. If it's Black, if it's Jamaican. The funny thing, we're not even talking about the election. It's funny, like when Pan-African James kept saying, let's go back to the election. Let's go back to the election. It seems like that's what the whole world is having to do. If it wasn't Project 2025, Joe Biden being sick, we're talking about everything other than the election. And it seems like we're going to get right up to the election, and then we're going to try to talk about the election. And by then, depending on which side you're on, it's going to be too late. So I think this is a good idea to do a show about this kind of outrage, this kind of manufactured outrage, because that's what it seems to be. Truth, because it's on Carnivorous Podcast and your channel, it's your show, so I'm gonna let you close out, but I'm gonna let Chef come in, speak his piece, and then I'm gonna let you close the show. Go ahead, Chef, you in the building?
Let me speak after the Chef.
Oh yeah, I thought Logic was gone.
Yeah, I thought he was gone too.
I'm just so sick of my man Logic. Taking the worst end of these conversations with everybody attacking them, but Logic is your positions that we're attacking. And maybe I'm seeing I'm seeing the intelligence of what you're doing, because you flushing out a lot of stuff by taking these positions. If somebody is not coherent and their thoughts are not straight, your logic is gonna pull it out of them. You know what I mean? So listening to how everybody answer, I think it's better to employ what you do on other topics, because it seems like ain't nobody letting you get around them on this one. You dig what I'm saying on it? Well, I mean, as Black Americans, we know what Black Americans is. You can't trick us on that. You don't have to be the most articulate person, but we know what it is to be a Black American, and all of the Black people that's in the diaspora, we have a connection to them, and we're not going to let you separate us from them. So that little bit, now it can work with the Egyptians and all of them, but it's not going. Come on, man. We got too many Jamaicans and them that live in our community. They are lockstep with us on all of our issues. You dig what I'm saying? So You ain't gonna be able to pull Jamaicans away from us. You might can pull Puerto Ricans away from us. That's cool. But you ain't gonna be able to pull Jamaicans away from. That's not gonna happen. So great show. Great conversation, y'all. Let's do it again, Truth. You know what I mean? Let's do it again.
Doubt. No doubt.
Peace, Logic. Pan-African James, you know what it is.
Quick, I'm gonna be quick because I wanna give True Savior as much time as he needs to close out. And to add to what Chef was saying, I'm not trying to pry Jamaicans away from Black Americans. FBA is actually trying to do that. That's why I pulled up the website. So it's not my opinion. I didn't even voice my opinion. I simply asked if he agreed with what the website says. So it's not me trying to pry Jamaicans out of the hands of the Black people. FBA is actually doing a good enough job for that if you actually follow what the FBA guidelines are. I didn't make them. All I did was read them. Again, I'll get attacked all day for stuff that I'm reading, and I didn't even voice my opinion about it. But you know, I share some outrage too, right? I think that it's a bit in my last criticism. You know, I'll be polite and delicate about it. But my last criticism about True Savior, you know, he did employ us to become more educated voters. And I think that I'm a little outraged too that at this point in time, I don't have anything to educate myself on about Kamala. And certainly not much positive stuff. You know, I know there's those rumblings in the background about, you know, her dealings with her cases as a prosecutor. And I'm saying specifically her cases and how they were handled, not necessarily, you know, who she was locking up or who she wasn't. But as far as what she's left us with to educate ourselves for her being a good candidate, she hasn't left us with much policy. She's had plenty of times to schedule interviews and take on debates. I believe she's got one coming up, and I'm actually very excited to actually hear for the first time, you know, at least in my opinion, her give some really clear answers on how she intends to handle some of these issues in America. I think she made it very clear, you know, that she didn't have some particular allegiance to Black people, which, you know, I guess in reality, with her being a politician and her first priority to become elected is probably a smart decision on her part. But I think that some of the other antics she pulled, right, I'm a bit upset about. I don't think it was appropriate at all for her to have Meg Thee Stallion up there twerking in front of her potential voters. I think that was a diminishment. It almost makes me feel like, you know, is this what it takes to get the young Black vote? We just got to have somebody up here checking out Megan Thee Stallion at a concert. Is that her equivalent to policy? Right? Is that her subliminal promise to Black America? I didn't get it. As a matter of fact, I thought it was downright appalling, to be straight up, right? So I think that that's what the real outrage is, that she has not left us with anything to educate ourselves on. A bunch of unanswered questions, unstated positions, and numerous opportunities to have done so, and has not so far. That's all.
Can I just make?
Can I say something?
That.
Can I say something real quick?
Real quick, go ahead, and I gotta get out of here.
All right, cool. I would say, you know, why don't we just you know, let's flip this and ask, you know, Logic and others, what's the criteria for being a Jamaican? You know, I remember that Chinese woman or Chinese Jamaican who went viral, and she was telling Jamaicans that she had passport, and she's telling them, well, if you don't have one of these, you ain't Jamaican. And you've had you have Chinese Jamaicans who didn't go through enslavement. You have in Jamaica, you have Indian Jamaicans who didn't go through enslavement in Jamaica. And then you have Irish Jamaicans who didn't go through enslavement in Jamaica. And then you have Black or African Jamaicans who were enslaved. So what's the criteria for being Jamaican? Can you just move to Jamaica and become a Jamaican, just like a lot of white Americans are moving to Puerto Rico now and becoming Puerto Rican? You know, what's the criteria?
Can I just say something real quick? I know you got to get off.
Yeah, we got 2 hours, and I want to let Truth close the show. We got 11 minutes. I want to finish in 7. So, and Truth still got to talk.
All right. Go ahead. We want Truth to talk. I'm just going to say that the criteria for being a Jamaican is no different than the criteria for being American. You got to be born in a certain place. But once again, these things are all based on perception. Okay, the one thing that we do know about Jamaicans, and I'll say this, and I think it's very good that Black Americans are finally delineating. Let's keep it a stack. Let's keep it a stack. Jamaicans and these other nationalities of people ain't rocking with Black Americans. I've been in this country a long time, man. Let's be real. I've dealt with Africans, I've dealt with Caribbeans, I've dealt with Indians, I've dealt with all of them. And I'm here to tell you, just like Dr. Henry Clark said, we ain't got no friends, period. And we need to take a hold of that. We really need to take hold of that and take that serious, because that's just the facts. We ain't got no friends. And if those who think that we do, you're naive. You're really naive. And you know, so when we say Black, we talk, you know, so when you think of a Jamaican, they're quick to say, I'm not Black. I'm Jamaican. I'm not Black. I'm Dominican. So, you know, it's a lot of disingenuousness going on there. And I think if you're a Black American, you've been in this country long enough, come on, let's be real. Let's cut through the BS and let's be real about this. And let's deal with the fact that for the most part, these people don't, you know, they don't rock with us. That's just the bottom line. But anyway, that's my point I want to make. I'm gonna let you go. Truth got to say his thing.
Close us out, Truth.
Hey, Brass, if you got a moment, can you show that picture of Kamala as a kid? I sent you real quick. Is that possible?
Let me look it up. Go ahead and talk while I look for it.
Okay. All right. First of all, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. It's an interesting discussion. Like I said, I think the most important thing for us to do as informed voters, and if you want to make a point and make a change in this way we do elections and in the way we do politics, you got to get involved. You have so many people on YouTube telling people to sit home, and then they wonder why things don't get done. So you can't sit home. And unfortunately, we have a two-party system that doesn't work for none of us. You know, the Republican Party don't work for us. The Democratic Party doesn't work for us. So you almost have to vote for the party who's going to do the least damage to Black people, right? I want you to see this particular picture. This picture is of Kamala. She's in the center, and her sister's to the right. This is when they were in Jamaica. Look at her cousins. These are her pictures of her cousins. Now, if you saw those kids and didn't understand their ancestry, I'm quite sure you would say that they were Black. Look at Kamala's hair. Now, we understand Kamala the way she looks now because her hair is, you know, done and everything like that, look all good and straight and everything. But that's her as a kid. And look at the hair. And I'm sure most of us, we see these pictures, we say, oh, look at these Black kids. But now we look at her and we question it. Now, you could do what you want. You could see her not as being Black. If that makes you feel good, fine. I'm just asking people to be informed more than her skin color. Look at what potentially she could do and not do. I agree. She's not presenting any policy positions that we can actually look at. I'm waiting for the Democratic convention in order to see what she's about. And I'm hoping she says some things that make sense. But I do understand the alternative. The alternative is a lot worse. So I'm willing to give Kamala a chance. And hopefully she can deliver. So, I mean, that's basically what I want to say. Again, thanks to everyone who tuned in. Thanks, Chef, Brass, Stedo, Anthony Whitaker. Thank you, brothers, for tuning in. And,
yeah, brother, you got it.
All right, so that's it, Brother Brass.
Hey, I want to thank y'all for coming out, and I think this is going to be a hot topic this week. Truth, I'm gonna have to hit you up. This is going to be you to get us started. So, talk to y'all later.
Media innovations, we gotta wait. What? Took a little minute, was patient, but now we take it. Anytime we want this game, my situation is entertainment intertwined with information. Alchemist soul, how we move the tassel and roll. It's amazing how we can turn something brass to gold. And we steady making hits. Architect with the prop in the scripts. It's logical that the product will flip. My boy Chef did the lineup. I'm fresh in the bitch. Carnivorous podcast and newest showing the list. DQ on the boat, so I'm rocking the ship. While the music gon' be dope and the artist legit. Hold my beer, concrete cord, then stepped in the door. See, that's my man and he reppin' for show. And true saviors are playing with flavor. Lexicon Taylor, lines on point like a laser. We need that paper, we building the vault. Cause you niggas don't listen, y'all be waiting to talk. Lack accountability and try to make it our fault. But opposing us is trying to arm wrestle the hawk. You coming up short on your re-up, nigga we up. Really wouldn't want to be up. I kick my feet up. My beef is wagyu and my truck is all speakers. Bills is all blue and my blunt is all reefer. With possible deniability,